YouTube, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy Yella. This is gonna be my experience with the iPhone 10. All right, we're talking my experience, not yours, but mine. All right, so keep that in mind as you watch this video. It's based on my experience. Now, I did pick up the iPhone 10 at launch. I got the space gray, 64 gig. $999, which is the first thing I don't like about the phone. It's just way too expensive. All right, especially for 64 gig. Apple could have at least given us 128 gig for that price, but they didn't. And am I surprised? No. It is what it is. You got to pay to play, right? But anyway, so that's one thing I don't like right off the bat about the phone. The other thing, well, there are a few more things, honestly. Something else I didn't like was the experience, right? So if you expect to spend $1,000, you want something special. You want different packaging. This is the 10th anniversary or whatnot. I expected, something special, at least in the packaging, the box. They could have given us, the AirPods. They could have given me a different color box, a bigger box, something different. I wanted my experience to be $1,000 worth of an experience. And I didn't experience that. All right? So that's another gripe of mine. Now, Face ID, love it or hate it, it is here. I don't think it's going anywhere. I will say when I first set it up, I was not a fan. It wasn't accurate, okay? It didn't work in ideal situations for myself. I redid the setup, and it works, I would say, at least 99% of the times now, which is pretty good, all right? So it's pretty reliable, even, complete darkness, because it's infrared or whatnot. So they did a good job on that. I'm sure the second generation is going to be even better. However, all right, I still wish they would have left another alternative as far as some sort of touch and fingerprint reader somewhere. Put it on the back. Make the Apple sign a fingerprint reader. Do something. All right, give me options. Samsung gives me options. All right. I also have a Note 8 here. There's tons of ways to open this phone. Okay. So Apple, if you're listening, I need you to implement something a little more. In the Face ID, I guess the worst situation for me was late at night. You get a text or email or whatever, and you're half asleep, and you basically have to open your eyes, both your eyes, for this thing to recognize you. Okay, so that's when I started to miss having my fingerprint reader, because it would have been a lot easier. All right, but I thought I would have missed my fingerprint reader more, but I don't. So I have gotten used to the Face ID. I'm okay with it. I've moved on from the fingerprint reader. The home button they got rid of. All right, whatever. It is what it is. We're moving on. Okay. Something else about the phone. It's small. Okay. So I'm all for having a one-handed device, but this one is not quite a one-handed device. So it's still tall. So you have to kind of maneuver your hand, readjust the phone in your hand to get to certain swiping features that I'm starting to get used to, but it's kind of in between. It's small, but yet it's tall, so it makes one-handed use a little more difficult. However, it is a pocketable phone, so for those of you that just take it and throw it in your pocket, you'll love it. The size is great in portrait mode, but when you go landscape, it's small. All right. So I play a few games on my phones, and the experience hasn't been as great, which brings me to another gripe, which is iOS 11. All right. So Apple, I really need for you to get together with the developers and get these other apps optimized to use on iOS 11 and on this iPhone 10 in particular. There's a game, NBA 2K17, that I played religiously on my 6S Plus, and it just flat out does not work on this phone. Like, it'll just, force close. So I need you to update that. That was an $8 app. All right. It wasn't free. I paid $8 for it. So either give me NBA 2K18 or fix my 17. All right. So things that I actually love about this phone. Now, I've watched some reviews already. Obviously, this phone's been out for a while. I wanted to get more of an experience with the phone before I gave you guys my opinion. The battery life is phenomenal on my device. All right, I can't speak for everybody else. Obviously, you guys have different opinions I've seen out there. This phone absolutely has probably the best battery life out of any phone that I've owned, including my 6S Plus, which I thought was the best battery life ever. All right, if you own an iPhone and have had an Android phone, or do you own both, like myself, you start to look at the little things about the phone, the little differences. One of which is that my iPhones, they stay at 100% for a long time. Meaning, if I took both of these phones, my Note 8 and my iPhone 10, off the charger at the same time, after about 5 minutes of use, my Note 8 has already dropped down to 99%. This phone stays at 100% for at least a half hour. And that is no exaggeration. I see it religiously since I own this phone. And I usually get up around 5:30 or so. I usually don't go to bed until around 11. I still have at least a good 35 to 40% battery left on this phone. Now, if you're a moderate user, you can easily get a day and a half battery life out of this phone. The battery is phenomenal. So I don't know. You guys hit me up in the comments if you had a different experience. I don't know what kind of phones you guys have, because my iPhone 10, the battery's been excellent. All right, that is one thing I love about this phone, the battery, especially for such a small phone. So Samsung, I need you to take notes, literally, no pun intended. Well, maybe so. Um, Up the battery game, please optimize it. Give me 4,000 milliamps, whatever you have to do to bring the battery level up. Okay. The screen is very nice. I know I've read those reviews about this being the best screen ever, or the best screen of the year, or whatever. I still think the Galaxy Note 8 screen is better. I like the way the colors pop. This one is a very good screen. However, I do notice a difference if I'm watching YouTube on my iPhone 10 or if I'm watching YouTube on my Note 8. The experience is a lot better on the Note 8. Okay. The speakers are pretty solid on this phone. Now that they've got the speaker in the earpiece as well as the bottom firing speaker. So overall, a great experience. Obviously not as good as the Razer phone speakers, which I'm hoping to see other companies take heed to what Razer did. And I'm hoping that the Note 9 is going to have those front firing speakers. So we'll see about that. I don't see Apple really adding those sort of speakers on the phone. They'll make it even bigger. Apple tends to want to make things paper thin. I don't know why. I don't know what consumers ever told them that we wanted the thinnest phone in the world. We really don't. We just want more battery life, and we want a fun factor. All right. With that being said, this phone is probably the best that Apple's made, because it kind of checks off all the boxes. All right. The build quality is excellent on this phone. Okay. Absolutely excellent. I've got the space gray here, all glass back. The build quality is phenomenal. I was a huge fan of the iPhone 4S, and then it moved into the iPhone 5, and I think that was the best body that they ever made on the iPhone 5 and the iPhone 5S. The build quality to me was just unmatched at the time. This is a close runner-up right here. I might even start to like this body style a little better than I did the 5S. So build quality is solid. The camera takes decent pictures. Well, let me take that back. It takes good pictures. All right. It's a 2017 phone. The camera is up to par. The Note 8 camera is really good as well. So no gripes there. So battery solid, great camera, great build quality, and that's pretty much all you can ask for in an iPhone. You're just gonna get a bunch of apps that work outside of the ones they haven't optimized for iOS 11 and the iPhone 10 yet. But the experience that I've had so far with the phone is similar to what I've had with past iPhones. So my 6S Plus was a great phone. If I had to go back to my 6S Plus, I wouldn't be angry. So with that being said, is this phone worth your $1,000? Okay, it's only worth mine because I love technology. Outside of that, I would say this phone is overpriced, especially for a 64 gig. I would say this phone should be no more than $799. Okay, I mean that would be the sweet spot. $800. Just do away with the iPhone 8 and just have this guy for $800. Okay, if they implement an iPhone 10 Plus, okay, now go ahead and tack on your extra $200, make it $1,000. But for this little guy right here, come on, Apple. Outside of that, guys, hit me up in the comments. Let me know your thoughts, what your experiences have been with the iPhone. I'm hoping that they bring back the jet black color, this space gray or off black, whatever this color is. Okay, it's decent, but I wish they would have had the jet black option. So maybe we'll see that in the future. So comment, like, subscribe. Tell me how you guys feel, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.